Hi guys, welcome back to Tumble Upward. This is a bit of a different episode today. So today is a solo episode, which I thought I would never be doing, but I thought it'd be a good way to wrap up the season as I've now recorded 9 episodes and this will be the 10th episode wrap. So basically what I wanted to chat about today was, I guess, what I learnt from all of the guests that I interviewed, what I've learnt from podcasting, and where I'm at the moment heading into season 2. So season 1 feels significant. When I started Tumble Upward, I didn't know how it would be received. I didn't know if the conversations would land. I didn't know if people would care. I guess, to be honest, I planned the podcast for probably about 6 months. I got to a stage where in planning, I had to now reach out to people to start the podcast, which was the most scariest part for me because it meant I had to publicly announce that I was doing a podcast in order to get guests. And I guess I got to that stage and I sort of just closed it down on my computer and I let it sit there for a good few months. I guess letting fear hold me back, worrying about what people would think and everything like that. But then one day I just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to put it out there. Like, who cares? What better way is there to learn than in front of everyone else? And I've always been interested in public speaking as well. So I thought, well, the best way to improve my public speaking skills was to put it out there in front of everyone and get feedback and just start with getting the ball rolling and being open and honest and vulnerable in front of all you guys. So thanks so much for coming along for the journey. I've had very positive feedback, which has been great. And I've learned lots of things that I would change. Yeah, I just knew I wanted to create a space for people to have honest conversations. I had an idea of the type of content I wanted, but I was kind of just letting the stories guide me in a direction that I wanted to go. So I did want to end the season intentionally. I didn't want to just end it suddenly. Yep, so let's go through what I learned first from this podcast and the people I've interviewed. So I thought this podcast would highlight strength, but it hasn't. It's highlighted breaking. So every guest at the time of their tumble didn't feel strong. They felt confused, small, disorientated, embarrassed sometimes. No one said, in the moment, I knew I was growing. They said, I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't recognize my life. I just had to survive it. And I think we romanticize resilience in hindsight. We love the comeback story. We love the polished reflection. But the actual moment, it's messy. No one tumbles gracefully. They tumble honestly. And upward only becomes clear later. I guess that makes watching some of this content hard if you're going through tough times because you're listening to people who are past their struggle journey or they've now worked through it and they're reflecting back on hindsight of all the things they've learned out of clarity. But if you're actually in the thick of it, it doesn't look like that at the time. It's messy and it feels like you're failing and you don't know what you're doing. So yeah, I guess hosting this season has quietly challenged me too. There were themes that kept coming up that mirrored parts of my own life. And I've realized that there are areas where I've been trying to look strong instead of just being honest about the rebuild. I think sometimes we think rebuilding is embarrassing. Like we should have had it figured out by now. But this season has reminded me that rebuilding isn't failure, it's evolution. And evolution rarely feels comfortable. And us as people don't like being uncomfortable. But being uncomfortable is where all of the growth happens. So if you're listening to this and you feel like your life is a bit uncertain right now, if something has shifted and you're still adjusting, if you feel like you're in between versions of yourself, I want you to know something. Every single person in season 1 thought they were just surviving in the moment. They didn't know they were in a chapter of growth. They thought they were behind. They thought they were lost. They thought they were late. But they were becoming. You might not see the upward part yet, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. All right, so we're going to go into a bit of a lighter side now. I just want to have a chat to you guys about what I've learned about podcasting because, wow, it's been quite the journey and it has not looked or felt the way I thought it would. So, yeah, I guess I was very naive at the start. I thought I would just, buy the equipment, get all the software, learn how to use the software, hit record, edit the episode, and then publish it. Man, was I wrong. There was so much more behind the scenes that I didn't realize I'd have to learn. First of all, there were glitches in the beginning, buying the equipment being out of stock, it not being delivered on time, then having to learn how to set up the equipment between the mics, the boom arms, the webcam, the audio transmission box, which I always forget the name of because I'm not a tech person, but I know it has a name. And then learning the softwares. I had to download like 3 or 4 different softwares and learn how to use them, which took hours of learning and watching YouTube tutorials and trying different settings on the softwares and then trial recording and then listening back and then fixing and then editing and then pivoting. And it was just a massive learning curve that I didn't expect. Then after lots of weeks of practicing with the equipment, I thought, okay, I've got it down now. I can record. So then I would record an episode, do a whole hour of content or more. The first episode I think went for like 2.5 hours before editing. And then I listened back to it and I thought, why is my audio a lot softer than the other guest audio? And because I recorded it on one audio track, I could only edit both audios, so bring the volume up for both and down for both. I couldn't split them and do just one speaker. So that's a big learning curve that's happened over the whole of this season. So thanks for persevering with the audio and sound issues. I've had issues with like files disappearing. One of my most recent online episodes, recorded the whole episode. It was a really great chat. And then I went to get the episode off Riverside and it said the file was corrupt. Which I guess is every podcaster's nightmare. Now, usually I always have a backup. So I have 2 recording streams at the same time in case one fails, which is a safe bet, right? Well, I guess not always in my case when you're super unlucky. So I had recorded on screen share as my backup and then recorded on Riverside at the same time. Now, for some reason, after we'd recorded the episode, I went to screen share to get the content. Yeah, I went into the window to download it and the whole site had just crashed and just said like the site cannot be reached anymore. And basically I had lost that backup. But I wasn't stressed. I was like, sweet, this is why we have backups. Like, it's all good. Just close it down. Go to Riverside. To download the episode. And it's downloading. You've got the wheel of doom spinning for hours. Had my laptop on all day. Would get to 90% and just not progress further. And then it came up that the file was corrupt. So I thought, man, I think I've just lost a whole episode. And it was a really great episode too. So I had to contact Riverside, get them to troubleshoot some tech issues, get the guests to troubleshoot some tech issues on their side. And thankfully, after a week of worrying, we were able to fix the file and get it back. So yeah, and that was like, 7 or 8 episodes deep. So you think you have it all figured out and tech issues are smoothed out, but there are things out of your control sometimes that life just throws your way. And I guess you have to deal with it even if you have all your safeguards in process. So yeah, tech issues are real and they humble you quickly. I don't think I'll ever judge any other podcasters for having tech issues anymore because even after years of experience, I feel like they would still come up from time to time. What else did I learn? I learned that recording is probably only 20% of the job. Editing takes probably 3 times longer than the recording itself. So say if you record an hour of content, you then probably would take you 3 hours to edit it because you've got to split the audio and video. You've got to edit just the audio on its own. Then you've got to put the audio and video back together. Then you've got to go through and edit and cut out the whole video, which takes listening to the whole track, pausing, cutting, going back, listening it over again, then continue listening. So it's a very timely process. There's also a lot of editing softwares out there, and that's a big learning curve too, is learning how to use them. I guess another thing that I've learned is I've always wanted the podcast to be like free-flowing conversation and just as natural as possible. But even free-flowing conversation episodes still require some sort of script prep. You have to hold structure in your head while staying present when recording as well. So you want to be very present, listening to everything that they're saying so you can reflect and answer back, whilst not letting your mind go off track, and also looking at the script and making sure you're staying with the guide. So yeah, there's a lot going on, and it can be quite emotionally exhausting after recording an episode. But nonetheless, they're still great and very fun to do. Like even this episode itself, I still had to go through and create a loose script guide on what I wanted to discuss with you guys. Otherwise, you'd just be listening to me ramble on about random stuff and side tangents that my mind goes on, which would not be fun and boring for you guys. So yeah, everything requires preparation, and nothing you see in podcasting is fully natural. Another thing that I've learnt, running a podcast is like running a business. So doing it on top of a full-time job is like giving yourself another side job. It involves recording the episode itself. You've got to reach out, find guests. How do you find guests? You reach out on social platforms. How do you become recognized? You've got to be present and posting on social platforms. If you record a really great episode but no one knows about it or no one sees it, how is it going to get out there and get listeners? So you've also got to do content planning, which I personally hate. I hate social media content planning. Myself, I've never been super big on using social media, but I feel like for a podcast, it's sort of the bread and butter of the business. So every week you've got to sit down, plan what content you're going to post over the next week, so that when you are working in your other job and you get home at night, you can just quickly put up those posts to keep it going. Consistency is also key, making sure I'm sticking with my timelines and releasing episodes fortnightly. Like I said to you guys, I would, although I know this episode has not been fortnightly, hence why I'm doing a season 1 wrap, so I can create more content and interviews before I am ready to open up for season 2. So I guess, yeah, podcasting is creativity, but it also involves strategy. Now, the social media reality is that I really hate TikTok. I've never been a massive fan. I know it's really popular. People like scrolling on it, call it doom scrolling. But myself personally, I just have never had it myself and never enjoyed it. But because I know it is a big platform for short form content in the form of reels, I have to have a presence on there for the podcast. So that's another process of why I decided to record the podcast for video and not just audio, so that I could create reels from the episodes to promote the episodes in the podcast. Reels seem really chill, quick, easy to consume content, but there's actually so much time and effort that goes behind them. Like a 20-second reel involves quite a bit of cutting and editing. And I guess they say people's attention spans these days are decreasing from short form content. So you have to be able to grab people's attention and hold their attention for, I don't know, like under 20 seconds of content to make them then want to go listen to a full episode. So yeah, that's a full learning curve in itself, and another profession in itself. Like you have people that work in marketing and digital marketing specifically, or social media management. You've also got people that work in sound engineering and video production, and so it's merging like all of these professions together that I know nothing about. So yeah, short form content is not my natural love language and I don't enjoy it, but I hope you guys enjoy the reels because I do it for you guys to promote the podcast. So yeah, I guess I'm learning to play the game in the podcast world even when it's not my favorite platform. All right, so moving on. I'm intentionally closing season 1 at 10 episodes, not because I'm done, but because I want to build season 2 with even more depth, more intentional questions, more powerful stories, more honesty. The first season was about creating space. The next one, I think I will go deeper. And if you guys have any content ideas or things that you want to see, please reach out to my DMs because I want to give you content that you enjoy listening to. So I guess we're coming to the end of my first solo episode. Scary. Hope I don't have to do too many more in the future. But I guess all of my guests have been very open, honest, and vulnerable with their stories, which I appreciate so much. So I guess in giving back, I thought I would show a small vulnerability of myself and read you a diary entry that I created a few months ago. I guess the diary entry is nothing personal in regards to myself, but just a bit of an insight into the inside of my mind and the things that I think and reflect about. Not all the time, because I know this stuff is quite deep and intense, but this is where my mind goes to sometimes. Other times, I'm probably just daydreaming, thinking about the sky or the moon or the sunset, or if a random butterfly crosses my eyes, I just get fixated on that for a little bit. So don't stress, guys. This is only a small snippet into my mind. So basically, how this diary entry started is I read the book, The Alchemist. Really great read. Definitely go out there and have a read if you're interested. So yeah, after I read this book, I guess I was just reflecting and thinking about what I've learned from it and what message it was trying to convey. Now, I believe I've already posted some of this on the Instagram page for Tumble Upward, but this is the full snippet of the diary entry that I wrote. So this was written on the 11th of Jan, start of this year. So I always start with, Dear Universe, the true meaning of life is not treasure or any materialistic thing. It is life itself. It doesn't make sense, right? Well, life doesn't make sense, and neither does the universe or anything beautiful. It doesn't make it any less beautiful though, right? So then I was thinking, well, what's the law of thermodynamics? Well, the law of thermodynamics is that energy cannot be destroyed, it can only be converted from one form to another, which means life can technically not be taken from us, except for in physical form, because we are made of energy, which is pretty cool, right? So then it made me think, well, I'm not scared of death then, as technically I cannot die. Therefore, without the fear of death, I am unstoppable, I am immortal, and I will never be obsolete. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I guess the message in that is live your life, do what you want, just have fun with it. We're all going to die in the end anyway, but our energy will never die. It'll always be in the universe and live on forever. So I'll leave you guys with that very heavy message for today. Yeah, and if you're ever feeling stuck or you can't slow your mind down or you're having swirling thoughts, I definitely recommend that you just write it down on a piece of paper. I know people say this and therapists say this and it sounds really dumb, and I've never done it until the end of last year, but I find it really helpful. Just start writing, even if you don't know what to write about. Literally write, I don't know what to write about. And then you'll find like your mind will just keep flowing and you'll be putting it out onto paper. Maybe read over it once, shut the book, you never have to look at it again. No one ever has to see it. But it's just a really great way to get some things out there in a tangible form and take the pressure off your mind. And some of my diary entries, well, all of my diary entries are definitely not reflective like that. They are just random things. But I was in a creative flow when I wrote that. So yeah, I guess if this season resonated with you, share it with someone who might be in their own tumble. And if you want to be the first to know when season 2 drops, make sure you're following the show. And if there's a story you think needs to be told in season 2, my DMs are open. I just want to thank you guys so much for all of your support. I've loved all the feedback and hearing you listen to all the episodes. So I'm going to leave it there. And next time I'll chat to you guys with a guest. All right, great. See you later. Have the best day. This is Tumble Upward signing off. Super cringe, but I've always wanted to say that. All right, see you guys.